Hey everyone, how's it going? So I decided to make a hashtag walkaway video. I had made one expressing this earlier, but I decided to redo it. So I'm a lifelong conservative, and this is my story of growing up with conservative views and political leanings, and my adulthood, and hopefully it can encourage some of you to stay the course and things of that nature. So a little background on me. I'm adopted. I am the youngest of 17. 13 of us were adopted, and my parents are Caucasian. I am not, obviously. And I have black brothers and sisters, white brothers and sisters, Oriental, Native American. So I grew up in a literal melting pot on the north side of Minneapolis, Minnesota. It wasn't a wealthy family, didn't get adopted to a wealthy family, so just for information's sake. So growing up in the hood in North Minneapolis, predominantly black neighborhood, it was interesting, the interactions with other kids, because of my parents' beliefs and what they're being taught and different things. And I realized really early on in life that I was different than they were. And in fact, in my mind and what I thought and how I looked at the world was different. And so fast forward to school time, I never stayed in any school for more than 2 years. So my first 2 years of high school, I went to Minnehaha Academy, which is a private school over the south side of Minneapolis. A Christian private school. And at that time, in the early 90s, I was like one of 8 black kids out of 800 and some odd students, which was kind of funny, but for me, obviously, it wasn't a big deal because of how I grew up. And you would expect that, well, a lot of people would tell you and expect that you're going to experience a lot of racism and whatever else you want to call it with that kind of ratio. And I cannot think for one moment in my mind any significant story that comes to bear during those first 2 years of high school of said racism. So I think that's bunk, just because you may be a minority somewhere does not mean you're automatically going to be racism or experience racism. So then the last years of high school, because I loved school so much, I really didn't, but I've learned a lot more teaching myself since high school than I ever did in high school, really. But anyway, so my last year of high school, I went to inner city school, Patrick Henry High. And now, Minnehaha, during lunch hours, you could just go out and go and get food down Lake Street and all that other stuff and go and come back. Well, at Patrick Henry at that time, they had metal detectors on the front door. All the doors were locked, around the school, and you could only get in and out of the front door, and there was no going out for lunch and things of that nature. Now, on a side note, I believe every school in the nation in 2018 should have that. I don't care if you're in Timbuktu or you're in the middle of Chicago. One way in, one way out, all of the doors locked. And I think you would see a lot less of this mass shooting, but I digress. So in my junior year, I went to Patrick Henry. And during this whole time, I'm developing who I am and what I believe and politically, and do I believe what my parents taught me? And I did. Did I feel it? Did I think the same? And I did. And so that was leaning conservative, and it wasn't a big deal talking about that at Minnehaha. Go to Patrick Henry, and now I'm in the majority with 85% black kids, which is a little adjustment for me, again, but it's okay. So I remember within the first week of high school, if I wasn't told at least 20 times that I talk funny, I act funny, or that you talk white, is what was their people's famous thing to me. You know, why you act funny? Why don't you, do this and that? And, I never sagged my pants. I don't use much slang language and never have, just because I don't. But the amount of black kids that basically questioned my blackness during those 2 years at Patrick Henry kind of just floored me. And especially when you get talking about political stuff in school and different things like that, they would find out that I lean conservative, and then it was just, that was it, you know what I mean? He's not a real black dude, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I met a black girl once at the roller gardens. I was like 16, and she thought it was cool and all those roller gardens. I got her number, all that stuff, and started to talk to her. And she's like, dude, man, you don't. She's like, I can't talk to you no more because you're not black. You don't act black. So I got to go. And I'm like, okay. And by that time, I really started to be even more concrete in my views as a conservative, and more concrete in my views as a non-victim, as what happened in the past and slavery happened in the past, which was a horrid thing. But can't nobody do anything about that now. You can't put the milk back in the bottle. You can't Humpty Dumpty. You can't put the egg back together. All you can do is sweep the egg up and keep going. And so during this time, I just said, okay, for the girl, I said, okay, fine. If you can't handle the way I talk, where I am, that's fine. Just go do your thing. So it just continued to press like that into voting, into adulthood. And I really felt like in the last, 20 years or so of adulthood that I've been on an island. I haven't really talked out too much openly about my political leanings, except for the family and different things like that. Whenever I would get into discussions with other black people or even other white people, they would just the liberal white people would just try to once again validate my claims. I am a victim, even though I don't know that I'm a victim. And so those of you who are coming out, I just wanted to give you some encouragement that you can withstand the backlash that you're going to get, or you may be experiencing now. I did make a video about this, like 6 steps that I thought would help people. You can check that out if you'd like. But I decided, especially after looking up a few other black people on YouTube in the last year or so, especially since Trump has gotten elected, I didn't vote for Obama. I didn't vote for, I've always voted Republican just because that's what I lean towards and that's who represent me more. And I've always subscribed to the fact that life's not fair, for one. No one owes you anything at any point, at any time. And you are who you want to be. So in any case, so after Trump, been elected and stuff, it's just gotten really bad with the Democrats, and I really appreciate this walkaway movement to hopefully open people's minds. And I'm just lending my voice, saying that I'm no longer going to be a man on an island, and I'm going to be a lot more vocal about my conservative views, and again, I'm starting making videos on that. So hopefully this is encouraging to those out there and those minority community. You can do it. You may lose family members, friends, but they weren't really family members or friends if they can't understand your side of the story too, or your view of things. True friends understand, and they just let it go if they don't agree. So I guess that's my story. Like I said, I'm black, I'm conservative, and I'm proud. And yeah, that's it. So this is a Savvy Ninja. And until next time, I will leave you with this.